This is Open Mind Alexander Technique. I'm Jess. Today we're looking at a guided active rest, or constructive rest, guided lie down, however you would like to talk about it. I've got a previous video on getting set up for a rest, so I will put that in a link above and in the description. Please go check that out if you haven't yet, because we're going to jump right in. This guided rest is going to cover a lot of different areas in ourselves and how we can direct them while lying down. So, the same as my previous shorter active rest, I will be speaking as if you are lying down in semi-supine position, lying on your back with something under your head and your knees bent so that your feet are flat on the floor. But as always, if you need to adapt, if that's not a comfortable position for you, feel free. In the future, I am planning to do some active rests where I will be speaking as if you're sitting or even standing up. So we'll look at that in the future. I would like you to start by taking your attention to your whole self. So what does that mean, a whole self? Is that just physical? In Alexander Technique, we say emphatically no, it is not just physical. In Alexander Technique, we actually don't even differentiate between the mind and the body as two things that are connected. It's just one self, and that's all of you. So when we're talking about noticing yourself, that always includes your thoughts and your emotions. So let's differentiate a little bit. What is the difference between a thought or emotion and a behavior? It might depend slightly on the person and how subtle we're getting. For example, there's a difference between feeling anger and yelling, right? Those are two different things. I can feel anger without yelling. What about stress, though? Can I feel stressed without tensing myself? Can I notice emotional difficulty, difficult conversations, without having to go into a startle response, going into fight or flight? Can I still come back to myself and ask for ease? No matter what type of day you've had, you can still ask for ease. You can ask for ease on the best day of your life. It's still going to be a good thing. So as you're lying there, I invite you to think about, what does it mean to allow thoughts and emotions to be there without necessarily having to act on them? Actions are choices. I can choose to not tense my shoulders. I can choose to not yell. I can choose to not respond to anxiety by curling myself up into fetal position and hiding. I think there's quite a bit of power in that, in being able to say, no matter what my emotional response is, I can acknowledge it. I know it's there. We're not trying to suppress anything. But I don't have to act on it, even to myself. So instead of acting on an emotion that might be coming up now, hearing this or just as part of your day, I invite you to instead ask for ease in your head and your neck. Remember that your neck connects to your head between your ears and behind your nose. And you can ask for a soft, nestled connection there so that your neck doesn't have to grab onto your head. It's just a request. It's not a demand. It's not something for you to try to get right. Trying to get something right is just going to make you tense up into it to try to make it happen. It's a doing. What we're going for here is a non-doing. It's a letting go. So we're just asking. Asking the neck to do a little less. Remembering that we can trust that connection between the head and the neck. It's there. It's not going anywhere. Even if you're hypermobile, coming back to that connection can help to give you that reassurance that your head's not going to fly across the room. You're good. You can trust it. Now I would like you to take your attention to your torso. Allowing your torso to move as you breathe. Now, depending on what kind of surface you're on, you might have a lot of tactile feedback about what that rib movement, belly movement, back movement is like as you're breathing. I would like you to not attempt to control the pace of your breath. Just notice it. Allow it to be there. Your speed is a good speed. Taking notice of your breath can help you to undo different muscle holdings that can be in place around your torso. Ask for ease. Ask for letting go and doing less. Remember that your ribs are movement joints in the back where they connect to your spine, they pivot, and those connections are still there. You can trust them. I would like you to bring your attention to your hips, your hip joints. It's that ball and socket joint near the bottom of your pelvis. It's where your legs connect to your torso. I would like you to think about ease and asking for softness. You might find that you need to slightly rebalance your legs if you do have your knees bent so that they're up towards the ceiling. Sometimes they can kind of fall side to side a bit when you first let go if you've been holding a lot. So just know that that's okay, that's allowed. You can rebalance if you need to. There's no constructive rest police that are going to tell you you're doing it wrong. I would like you to notice the way that your legs form kind of an A frame, or 2 points at the bottom and then connecting at 1 point at the top, with your knees that are pointing towards the ceiling or the sky if you're outdoors. Having that idea of these connection points with the floor, the ground, table if you're on a table, having those connection points can be anchors, not in the sense of weighing you down, but in giving you stability. So here are your foundation pieces for your legs. Right now, that's the back of the pelvis and the bottoms of the feet if you're in semi-supine position. Your knees are pointing up but that doesn't mean that they have to be disconnected from the rest of you. I would like you to ask your knees to do a little bit less holding. Notice that soft nestled connection between the different parts of the knee. And know that there's a lot of parts in there. Knees are actually kind of complicated. But in general, we can think of them as two long, straight-ish pieces with the upper leg and the lower leg that connect in the middle with a hinge. And that hinge doesn't have to grip in order to keep stability. It's still there. And allowing that soft connection to be there can help provide that reassurance to be able to not grab on so hard. I'd like you to take your attention to your feet. Allowing your feet to connect with the floor. Allowing your feet to take up space. If you find you need to readjust where your toes are, if you realize you were crunching your toes in, go ahead and readjust. Let them go. The joints are still there, the connections are still there. They aren't going to wander off without you. You're allowed to take up space. So I'd like you to bring your attention back to your arms. We've just gone from the head to the feet, but we kind of skipped over the arms because we went through the torso instead. So I'd like you to think about your arms. In general, with semi-supine, we often recommend people have their arms just resting somewhere on their torso, wherever it's comfortable. No particular height is correct. If you do have your arms lying on the floor, on the table next to you, at your sides, can you still ask for ease? Can you notice your breath in comparison to your arms? Particularly if your hands are resting on your torso, your hands are probably moving. Can you give permission for that to happen? So you're not trying to hold yourself in place, not trying to lock yourself in. Humans aren't statues. We're not supposed to be absolutely still, really at any time, because breath is movement. But even on a larger level, what does it mean to hold still? I mentally run that through a translator and say, I just don't need to do anything right now. That's what being still is. It's an internal quiet. And again, I think there is power in the refusal to have to react. I don't have to react. I can choose not to until I'm ready. And then when I am ready to react to something, I have my organization working. I have my own strength to where I don't need to be timid or concerned about what's going to happen with it because I'm the common factor in everything that I do. And I know that if I just keep optimizing, even if that's 5% better than it was a minute ago, fantastic. My day is 5% easier. I'll take it. So in a moment, I would like you to mentally come back to the rest of your day, and we're going to get up, finish this active rest, and move around. But before we get to that, so if you already started to stand up, go back down again. I would like you to give yourself time to pause and organize. Come back to your breathing. Because anytime we're preparing for something we're not doing yet, it's just extra work. And then when you're ready, when you've decided that you're ready, you can move around, you can shift side to side a bit, you can come back up to sitting or standing. And I invite you to continue thinking about ease and softness and the reassurance of knowing where you are internally. Letting that be part of your day.